This is to show you how I'm painting my wall with a tree on it to match my headboard that you may have seen in my other things. So I want the room to match now. So this is just me kind of showing you how I did it in the process. This is kind of the finished side because I had to take the headboard down so that I could paint this first. My walls were kind of like a mint green, so I had to paint everything white. And I printed some pictures off the internet of trees. I don't know if you can see here or not, where I penciled in a style of a tree that I liked off the internet. So I kind of just penciled it in. You can kind of see there. And then I just started filling it in with black. I have a small paintbrush. I'll show you later how I was doing that. And because of the paint, you can kind of see here, I need double coat on some places. So after it's all done, then I had to go in and fill in some more. Like you can see there on the bird where I have to fill in more paint. And then after I did all the black, I'd started to add the leaves, and it was kind of just like a mismatch of where I thought I wanted them to go. Okay. Okay, so I obviously have a very tiny brush, but I'm more comfortable with that because it's easier to control your brush strokes, especially when you're doing small stuff. And I like to make sure that I keep my paint on the very tip of my paintbrush. That way you can watch the bubble of paint as you go across the line. And you can see it makes a really nice line. Yeah, you might have to fill it in later depending on what kind of paint you use. I have like a Rust-Oleum, but that's because I wanted this project to be really cheap. So I used paints that I already had downstairs. But I bet if you used like a Bayer paint or one of those one-stroke paints, that it probably you wouldn't have that problem. But the best thing to do is to outline both sides as best you can with a nice smooth stroke. And then you can fill in the center, no problem. This might look painstakingly hard, but or extremely time consuming. And I will admit that this has taken me quite a few days, but that's only because the only time I have is in between work and bed to do this. But I enjoy doing this. I find it very therapeutic. It's very relaxing and calming, so I like doing it this way. Let me see. Is in the picture? I'll show you real quick while I've got the camera on here. The tiny little branches that you see are all just like a mini stroke. And just making sure that you end and pick up your brush while you finish, and that gives you the tiny little tip instead of the thick stuff, which is nice to mix it up in there. So sometimes you've got thicker tips and sometimes you've got thinner ones. Makes it look more like a tree, I guess, which is the goal. All right. I was just thinking, if you don't have or if you're not proud or don't have enough confidence to skillfully sketch the tree onto your wall. I was also thinking, I just remembered there was a project I did in college for a coffee house that they wanted some artwork on the walls but couldn't afford the actual paintings. So I went and got transparencies of the pieces that they wanted, kind of like just like a rough outline, and I projected those pieces on the wall the size they wanted and then just filled in the paint, basically a paint by number. So then you just sketch it on the wall that way. If you have a projector and you want to do it with transparencies, that's another way you can do it. I've been thinking about doing something like that for in my dining room. I'd like to have a nice clean something on the wall in there. But anyway, just thought of that, thought I'd share it. And if I haven't mentioned it earlier, it's extremely important, obviously, to have really good lighting. My bedroom, unfortunately, does not have good lighting, so I've had to import lamps from the living room and from around the bedroom to point in this direction so I can have good lighting, because otherwise you won't see your sketch very well. But you can see here I'm getting to the end of the tree, or at least to the tips of the tree. And we'll have a couple of thick ones. And you can see I have a funny bump there. Get rid of that real easy. Just put another little twig there. Ah, camouflage. As long as I don't go overboard, it's pretty easy to, if you feel the stroke taking you somewhere else, just put it somewhere else. It's not hard to do while you're doing it. If you get to a place and you did not put something there, and after you step back and you look at it, you realize, you know what, it needs one of those. And I think I might leave this one a little bit blank, because I think I'm going to eventually put a bird there. I haven't decided yet, so. And that was a mistake. Really, you should be going from as many places as you can where you start to go from the top to the bottom. I should have done this before I did that, but that's just so you don't put your arm in it, because especially on black on white, anything you touch after that, it's gonna kind of ruin it.